Okay, welcome back. And so today what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the vertex formula, and I'm going to show you, I'm going to derive it, okay? You don't have to know how to derive it, but I'm going to show you how to derive it so you know where it comes from. And it comes from exactly the process that we've been doing the last couple of videos on completing the square. So I'm going to do the same process. I'm going to complete the square and put this general formula, the standard formula, into the formula that looks like for transformations. And so you'll see, as soon as I do this, you'll see the vertex formula pop right out, which is kind of cool. It looks cool to me. Okay, so here we go. So now, I'm going to treat this a because a can be any number, right? So I'm going to factor out the a. So again, here's the constant. I'm going to ignore that, and I'm going to treat these two things here. I'm going to factor out the a. So what happens when I factor out the a is I'm going to get a times the quantity of x squared, right? Now what happens here? Well, this has to become b over a, right? b over a times x. Okay, now, again, just think about it. If I distribute the a back, do I get back to where I started? And the answer is yes, because if I distribute the a here, I get ax squared. If I distribute the a over here, I get back to b because the a's cancel. I'm going to be multiplying by a and dividing by a, so it cancels each other out, and I end up with b. So this works. Okay, so now this plus c. So now I have that. Okay, so again, I haven't changed anything. It's still the same expression, right? Just in a different form. Now I'm going to complete the square on this thing. So what do we do when we complete the square? We divide this by 2, which incidentally is the same as multiplying by a half, right? So I'm going to divide this by 2 and then we square it, right? So what happens? So again, if I look at this, b over a, right? I'm going to divide by 2, which is the same as multiplying by a half, and that's going to give me b over 2a, right? So some of you, this might look familiar already. Okay, so then what do we do? We square it, right? So then we get, we get b over 2a squared, right? Now, so I'm going to stick this in here. So this is what I'm going to add, right? I'm using completing the square. So I'm going to end up with what? I'm going to end up with x squared plus b over ax, and now I'm going to add my term. So it's going to be plus b over 2a squared. But then, remember, I have to subtract the same thing, right? So b over 2a squared. And so I get this, plus c. Okay, so let me erase this so it's out of my way. And I'll put it over here. Okay, so now, just like we did before, I'm going to ignore this, and this piece is the perfect square, right? So this is what I get. So now this is going to equal a. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to, again, group these. I'm going to put parentheses around here. And this piece now becomes what? It's going to become x plus, now it's going to be this coefficient divided by 2, which is this, right? So this divided by 2 is going to give me b over 2a quantity squared, and then I'm going to have this piece minus what? b over 2a quantity squared, right? And so then here's the end of the parentheses, or the square brackets. And then I have my plus c. Okay? And so now, what am I going to do? I'm going to distribute the a again, just like I did before. Because I want to drop these parentheses because I want to combine the constants. And so I want to put it in that right form. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to distribute the a to this term and to this term. And so what happens? I get a times x plus b over 2a quantity squared. And then I'm going to say minus, now the a, I'm going to put a over here. Well, this is a, what? Let me do it this way. A times b over 2a squared. Right? Now I can drop the outer brackets. Now I have plus c. Okay. Now it's starting to look familiar, right? So now, guess what? We already know the x value for the vertex. It's right here. Okay? So let me rewrite this one. So this is going to be equal to a times x minus, right? So minus a negative b over 2a now, the rest of this is going to be the h, right? So this is our k, or excuse me, this is our h. This is going to be our k value. This is the h value of our vertex, right? This is k. Or if you want, this is x and y for our vertex. And so let's simplify this. So what happens here? Well, this a and this a is squared. Right? So if I distribute the 2, let's rewrite this. I'm gonna rewrite this. So this b over 2a squared, I'm going to distribute the power, which actually gives us what? B squared, right? B squared over 4a squared, right? So all I did was distribute the power to the top of the bottom and across these two. So the b becomes b squared. The 2 becomes a 4, and the a becomes a squared. And now I can cancel this a because this is multiplying and this is division, so I can cancel one of those. And so now what do I get? I'm going to rearrange these so I get plus c minus b squared over 4a. Okay, now I can simplify this a little bit more. I'm not going to bother because the main thing is this piece right here. Okay, because once we know this piece here, the x, there are the x coordinate for our vertex, then we know this because this, right? So this negative b over 2a. This negative b over 2a, this is our h value for our vertex, and this is our k value. And so that's it. So this is the vertex formula for the x value. So when we use the vertex formula, this is where, and some of you may have seen this, is we have x is equal to negative b over 2a. Okay? Oh, and by the way, remember the quadratic formula. The quadratic formula is x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2b. Well, remember, if we're at the vertex, guess what? If we're talking about the point, right? So this is the equation for finding the x value, any x value along the graph of a parabola. Well, if you're at the vertex, well, what's the distance, right? So this plus minus actually represents the distance a point is from the vertex. So any point on the graph of a parabola is going to be a certain distance from the vertex, except for the vertex. The vertex, this is 0. And so you get negative b over 2a, which is exactly what we got. So that's proof, in a sense, of the fact that we did it correctly and we got the right answer. And that's it. So the vertex formula is equal to, for the x value, is equal to x negative b over 2a. And then to get the y value, you just take this and plug it into the formula to get your y value. And that's it. Take care. Have a great day.